What's up, YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Necrozma Dawnwings in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like and let's get into it. So yesterday we did Lunala and Solgaleo, so I thought we'd do the Necrozma versions of them. So let's have a look at Necrozma Dawnwing's stats. So we've got a fat special attack stat there, 157 base. And we've got pretty good bulk on the defense and special defense side, 109 and 127 base. And then we've got 97 health. So pretty much nice overall bulk there. Now its speed stat isn't very good at all. So it's only 77, which doesn't make it a very fast Pokemon. So I'd say it's going to be more probably chosen for Trick Room. So let's have a look at it. Its ability we have here is Prison Armor. So this Pokemon receives 3/4 damage from super effective moves. So that's a very, very good ability to have. It'll help out a bit with its 4 times weakness. Not heaps, but it's still very, very weak to, 4 times weak to Dark and Ghost and stuff like that. But still will help against other moves, but they're going to be the main moves used against it, so it's still going to get hit pretty hard. Let's have a look at our first set here. This is a Trick Room set, so this one probably a little bit, actually the singles and doubles for Necrozma Dawnwings actually are fairly similar how they run. Maybe the EVs could be a little bit different if you want to survive certain things or work outside of Trick Room as well as in Trick Room. But most of the moves are the same. So we've got Trick Room, Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam is just a good way of boosting its special attack. And then we've got Moongeist Beam. So both those moves are fairly sort of staple on there. Terra Fairy is a very good Terra for this in terms of defense. Because, you've got the Ghost moves and the Dark moves. And those will just completely obliterate this Pokemon. So having a Fairy type Terra is great defensive typing. And you can also give it Terra Blast. It doesn't, I don't know why it doesn't get Moonblast, but it just does not get Moonblast, even though it's Necrozma Dawnwings. You think it would get Moonblast, but it doesn't. So you have to sort of stick with Terra Blast there if you want an attacking move, which you could, definitely have. I think that would work as well for opposing Dark type Pokemon. That would be very handy. So this gives you sort of like some powerful attacking moves, and then you've got Trick Room to go first. The EV spread we got here is max health and max special attack quiet nature and 0 IVs. This will allow you to be very, very slow under Trick Room and outspeed, lots of Pokemon, which will be really, really good, whatever sort of format you're playing at there. For other Terra options, you could have Ghost as well if you want some more, more power on Moongeist Beam because it's such a good move. You could try maybe for Terra Rock as well if you want Meteor Beam to be a bit more powerful. But then you got to sort of change up Terra Blast and I think that Terra Fairy is probably the best on there. It's the best defensive and offensive typing for it. Since it doesn't have Moonblast either, that's sort of it's good. I think that's pretty much it for a Trick Room Meteor Beam set. There's not too much to add to that. That just does its job kind of well. The next set we got here is going to be a little bit different. This one is also a Trick Room set, but we'd probably have it alongside another Trick Room Pokemon setting it up. So we've got like stuff like Indeedee, which is very good. So this one is making use of Prismatic Laser, which is a crazy, crazy powerful move. 160 base power. Obviously, you can't move the next turn, so we put eject button on there. Now, after firing off this laser, if it doesn't faint them, and then if you get hit by an attacking move, you immediately swap out to a Pokemon of your choice. So it can be a way of ejecting out of the battle and not having to be sitting in there for an extra turn and getting set up on and stuff like that. The other move we got is Moongeist Beam and Flash Cannon, and I thought giving it Terra Blast Fighting could be interesting. Just trying for something a little bit different than Terra Fairy, just some other options. So this way you'll be able to get Dark type Pokemon, and then you'll be Terra Fighting, and then you've got any Psychic types come in you can still use Moongeist Beam against, Prismatic or Prismatic Laser against them as well. So just another way of doing it. You could also do Terra Steel on there too, for more of a defensive one. Or you could do the Terra Blast Fairy as well. That could also work. So same sort of EVs there, max health and max special attack, quiet nature, 0 IVs. Just another sort of option there if you want like a huge hit. Obviously, when you use this, you don't just use it willy-nilly. You use it when you think that you know the opponent is going to attack you afterwards, and that way you can get the damage and the eject button. Say if you got a really bulky Pokemon, and you're pretty confident you're either going to feint it or do big damage to them, that's when to use it. And you could put Meteor Beam on there as well. That's another option. I'm just trying some little different options here, and with eject button, and that might work a bit better in doubles, or it might work good with some Pokemon like Incineroar or Intimidate Pokemon or Parting Shot Pokemon, to keep the momentum going on your team. So just another way that you could possibly run Necrozma Duel Wings. Let's look at some double sets now. So our next double set here is also a Trick Room set. Now, this one is actually making use of Terra Normal. So this is my Trick Room set. Now, this Pokemon is virtually a Trick Room Pokemon. It really is. It's sort of like kind of suited for it. So Terra Normal is pretty good because with that, you're not going to be affected at all by Ghost type moves. So that's going to be excellent. And then at least Dark is going to be neutral then. So you're not going to get like destroyed in one shot. So we've got Trick Room, obviously. We got Room Service. So Room Service is going to drop speed by another stage. There's 2 items you could run on this set. I'll go over them. Expanding Force. So this would work well with Psychic Terrain, something like Indeedee as a partner. So you've got Indeedee redirecting the moves and then setting up the Expanding, and then Expanding Force is going to hit both the allies in and being powered up, which is going to be super good. And then we've got Moongeist Beam, obviously, and Hyper Voice. So it does get Hyper Voice, and with Terra Normal, that's another sort of spread move to hit both the opponents too. Now, you can run a couple of different items on this. If you don't think you need Room Service, it's like, oh, it's slow enough, I don't think I need that item, sure. So you could have Throat Spray on there. That would allow you, well, I can spell Throat Spray, that will allow you to get a special attack boost, basically. So kind of what the Meteor Beam would do, like the Meteor Beam variant set. So this would allow you to at least use Hyper Voice and have Stab Normal. So that's going to do some pretty nice damage. And then say if a Ghost type comes in, oh, we can just use Moongeist Beam against them. So it's pretty good. And then you've got Psychic Terrain as well, which is going to be useful there too. With that Psychic Surge and Expanding Force, powering that up and stopping any priority moves too. So that's going to be nice. That's going to be really, really good. Another item you could run on there too could be Silk Scarf. That would boost up Hyper Voice's power even more too. So that's another option. A more gimmicky option, you could have Normal Gem on there for an initial Hyper Voice. But I feel that's definitely gimmicky compared to Silk Scarf or Throat Spray, because they give better damage and better longevity, except for like one initial boost there. So that's sort of my thought process for this sort of set. Same sort of EVs there, max health and max special attack, quiet nature. Honestly, I don't know if I'd run any different EV. Like sometimes I try to. Obviously, I don't always do 252 and doubles and stuff, but unless you want to be able to, for some reason, outspeed something outside of Trick Room, if it's not there, or live a certain hit, I feel like health and special attack is the best for this in both sort of formats, doubles and singles. That's not normally a case, but I think for this sort of set, it works best. It gives it all-round bulk and its highest special attack damage output. So that's that first set. Let's check out the next doubles one. So our next double set here is going to be more of a support style set. A little bit of fun. So we've got max health EV, max defense, and we've got calm nature. So boosting special defense up. So we've got well-rounded bulk on the defense and special defensive side and max health there. So very tanky. Terra Normal again. This is going to be serving as a gravity user. So Gravity is quite an interesting move. There's going to be no ground immunities, obviously, but we're going to get a 1.6 times accuracy. So this is a pure support Pokemon for more lower accuracy moves, like partners that have powerful moves that aren't 100% accurate. So you could work that in with any Pokemon that's slow, or it doesn't even have to be slow. It could be just a normal Pokemon. Say you've got a Pokemon like Rock Slide or something like that, and you want to land those Rock Slides, a lot more than what they were, landing before, right? Gravity's going to help that out, and we also got Protect on there, Moongeist Beam, and Prismatic Laser just for a nuke, for some damage there. So this is just pure support. I know we're sort of wasting out on its big special attack stat, but I wanted to try something different because it does have pretty reasonable bulk to it, and with Prison Armor as well, it's quite good. Covert Cloak is the item there. We don't want to get like flinched by Fake Out or anything like that. Not that that would happen, but if you did Terra Normal, you might be prone to that. So any secondary effects that would be would be quite handy there too. You might be able to put Meteor Beam onto there if you wanted to. Like you could, when I go back to this set here, this sort of set could definitely work on there. I personally might get rid of Trick Room and put Protect on there instead for doubles. So that's sort of my singles one. I would put Protect on there and let's say another Trick Room, like in DD or something like that, set the Trick Room up and go for that. That could definitely work in doubles too. There's nothing wrong with that. That would be fine. So a lot of those sets can work the same in singles and doubles. Maybe just modifying a move. And it is quite handy to have Protect as well. It's just a scouting move and blocking any incoming moves. So yep, that's what you could go about using there. I'm just trying to think of some other terrors that would be good. Maybe some more defensive ones like water could work on there. Maybe water, or if you were running the Trick Room, if you were running the Meteor Beam one, you could do Rock as well. That could be a case of just doing that and but if you were to run, say for doubles or singles, if you were to run Terra Rock on there, I'd get rid of Terra Blast, and I'd give that expanding force then. That's what I would do for doubles. I would give that expanding force if we were to go Terra Rock. So that's another way of doing that, sort of mixing those sets together. There's not too many other moves that are going to be super great with it. I'm trying to think of any other terrors. Like normal, water, rock, and fairy seem to be pretty good on it. There doesn't seem to be any other ones. If you've got any suggestions there, let me know. But I reckon I've covered the best ones there that I can think of off the top of my head for these. So yeah, there's the doubles ones. Let's have a look now at some other options. So Necrozma Dawnwings can get stored power as well, and it can make a bulky stored power Calm Mind set. These Pokemon do get a lot of the same moves too. So what we've got on this one, this is going to work a lot better in singles than doubles, because it's going to be harder to set up in doubles. You're going to have to do a lot of setup, so it's going to be difficult. So we've got Calm Mind on this set, which is going to make it even more bulkier on the special side and increase our special attack. And then we've got Max Health and Max Defense EVs with Bold Nature, really maxing out our defense here. So stored power, so every single time I get a stat boost, we've got plus 20 in base power. So with Calm Mind and Stored Power is a very good combination. So instantly you're getting you start with 20, right? Then you've got another 40 after using it once. And then you're increasing your special attack as well. So it's sort of a really powerful move. And then you've got the Iron Defense, which gives you another 40 by using one. So you can max that out and then heal off with Moonlight. And then have some really, really powerful stored powers that's going to dominate pretty much anything that comes in that isn't a dark type Pokemon, really. Terra type Psychic, because we're increasing stored power. And, with Prison Armor, with that 3/4 damage from super effective attacks, you're not going to take very much damage at all. So that's going to be super good. They're going to stack nicely. I actually gave this Ability Shield. So say if your ability someone was to try and suppress your ability, ignore it or change it, that'll stop it, because Prison Armor is pretty good on setup Pokemon because they can tank hits a lot better. So that's why I thought would be a good item. You might be able to cheese it and put like something gimmicky like Staffberry on there. Staffberry randomly raises the stat by 2, so maybe that'll give you another 40. But, you have to get to a quarter health then, and that might be risky. So maybe, maybe 2 gimmicky there. Or you could give it like maybe Salak Berry. I was thinking the only thing you don't have there is speed. Maybe you could get Salak Berry on there to give it +1 at speed. Would it be worth it? Probably not. Or you could go maybe Mental Herb, but I don't think you'd swap it in against a taunting Pokemon anyway, because that's going to be bad. You're only going to be able to get like 1 Calm Mind off and then get taunted again. So that could be a bad idea. You could give it something like Twisted Spoon as well. Twisted Spoon would increase the stored power damage. That could work. That's another item that you could do there. Or if you're very using that, you could use Mind Plate as well. So there's some psychic items you could definitely try out for sure. If you wanted initial recovery without using Moonlight, you could have Citrus Berry on there. If you're concerned about your defensive stat, I don't know why you would be, but you could use Key Berry. But I feel like that's not really worth it, because you might as well just use Iron Defense and put it into another stat. Or Leftovers. Leftovers could just be nice there and have some extra recovery. So that's definitely something that could work for you too. You could have Lumberry on there as well, but this is not a set to swap in against a toxic Pokemon, because they'll eventually beat you. So that's sort of the items that I would put on there for sure. You could. I'm trying to think of anything else there. Anything else you could possibly put on there that would help you out? I think I've covered most of them for that set. So that's just another variant of using Calm Mind. But this is more of a stally setup set, and would work best in singles. Unless you used it in doubles and you had some really, really big Rage Power, Follow Me combinations and stuff like that. That's going to be the only time you'd be able to try and set all that up. It would take a while though, but I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be more difficult to do. All right, let's check out the PIMPNITE special set here, and we'll have a look at some teammates encounters and stuff for doubles and singles. All right, here we go. We got a physical Necrozma Dorwing. So it does actually get access to Dragon Dance, which is pretty cool. So I thought we'll see if we can make a critting Necrozma physical Dorwing set. This is gonna be fire. So we got that max attack and max speed Adamant Nature. Dragon Dance is going to increase our speed anyway, and we sort of want to get as much damage as possible. So we got Psycho Cut, which is has 1 stage of crit. We got Shadow Claw with another stage of crit there, so dual stab, and then we got Stone Edge as well for some coverage. And we've got a crit stage on that too. I could give it Night Slash. I was thinking about Night Slash with Terra Dark could work too, but I gave it Terra Rock with Stone Edge and a Scope Lens as well. So I thought that'd at least give me some extra coverage against maybe some fire types and such like that, and flying types. But you could do Night Slash as well and Terra Dark. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something, but yeah, you could do Terra Dark, and then you could. At least some of those moves would not be, super effective moves would not be super effective anymore. So it could work well that way too. So a beautiful PIMPNITE special there. Give that one a shot. You've got a 50% chance to actually get a crit on all these moves. So that gives it 1 stage, and Scope Lens give it 2 stages. So you're at 2 out of 3 stages there. All right, let's talk turkey on some teammates and counters. All right, as I was talking about before, Indeedee is going to make a very, very good partner for this Pokemon. Now, once again, I have done an Indeedee guide already if you want to check that out in the playlist. So this gets some good moves. Such a great support Pokemon. So it gets Psychic Surge, which is going to be very, very good if you've got Expanding Force. That's going to be excellent. And you've got Trick Room and Follow Me as well. So it can sort of follow me the Shadow Balls that are aimed at Necrozma, for example, so you don't have to Terra right away. We'll get rid of Normal Gem because Throat Spray or Silk Scarf are better. So yeah, you've got that going. or if you have the Power Herb variant, whatever, right? So same, this kind of one there. Either one of those sets is going to be useful, right? So with the Follow Me, that allows you at least to go to Follow Me any Ghost type moves. So that could be good. And then it does get other things like Dazzling Gleam. So if you come across any Dark type Pokemon, at least, Indeedee can still use Dazzling Gleam, and this can still use either expand Moongeist or Meteor Beam, or you've got Terra Fairy on there, right? So there are some options that you can or Hyper Voice. You've still got ways to hit other Dark type Pokemon too. So I would say Indeedee F is the best partner for Necrozma Duel Wings if you're doing Trick Room. Definitely, very, very good partner for sure there. And then you could just build it around other Pokemon on your team. Really, I think that would work rather nicely. Any other Trick Room Pokemon will work very, very well as at the same time as well. Let me suggest maybe a couple more. So other, stuff like Iron Hands would work well on that team as well. Like slow, bulky Pokemon, which are going to hit hard and can get around Dark type Pokemon. That's going to be good. That'll just demolish any Dark types. And then you've got Ghost types. Well, you can have your own Dark type Pokemon as well on there. That wouldn't be so bad. Probably something, maybe singles like Ting Lu or something. I'm thinking Ting Lu for singles wouldn't be too bad. And for doubles, maybe, you could have Urshifu on there as well, but you'd have to watch out when you set up Trick Room and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's going to be, it's going to be way too slow and things like that. But I'm just having a look at some Dark type Pokemon you could use on there. Maybe Grimmstyle. Grimmstyle could be good there for setting up screens. That could be good on that team too. So there's quite a few Pokemon that are really slow, which have good sort of offensive stats or setting up screens and that sort of thing that will really help your team out. What else we got on there? I think that's some pretty good partners there. If you want to suggest any more, you can. Like I said, it can work on a lot of teams. Any Trick Room team is going to be useful. Oranguru is not too bad either. Like Oranguru. So Oranguru is the same typing as Indeedee, and it has telepathy, and it also has Trick Room as well, and it also has its Struck. So such a beast Pokemon in double. So you could essentially have this set up right. So let's say, for example, we've got Necrozma and we've got Oranguru. You could set it up so it uses Instruct on the Necrozma, and then it uses 2 Moongeist Beams or 2 Expanding Forces. That'd be like super broken. So like you could do like fun little combinations like that, and it's good typing as well for it. Definitely good typing. And if you had like say Terra Blast Fairy, you could do that to get rid of Dark types and stuff as well. So there's another good partner for Trick Room. There's a good amount of Pokemon. Some counters and stuff like that. So I'm thinking any real Dark type Pokemon. Any Dark type Pokemon. So we've got Urshifu, but if you've got Terra Blast Fairy, you can shut that down. That's going to be a good shutdown Pokemon for sure. And any Dark type Pokemon are going to be a big issue for this. Really, really big issue. Singles, you could have I was thinking Ting Lu would be a good counter as well. So that would be annoying. That's a good, more of a singles counter. King Gambit, I reckon, would be good. I would say King Gambit. So King Gambit's typing. Its typing allows it a lot of things. So like Moongeist Beam's not going to do much to it. Expanding Force is not going to do much to it at all. Well, it's not going to do anything to it. So that's a great, and it's got Sucker Punch as well, so it can outspeed you. So, and even if you got priority, like Psychic Terrain up to block priority, it can still use something like Kotal Cleat, right, and destroy you. So, yep, that's probably a number 1 counter there for sure. Any Calyrex, Shadow with Astral Barrage, that's going to clap your cheeks. Like, that's going to be another good counter too. Even like Giratina would be a problem too. Maybe more like Giratina Origin, I reckon. Giratina Origin would be another good counter too because of its typing and its bulk. Yeah, there's tons of them for sure that can get around that. It's just that big weakness, you know. That's quite a jarring weakness, even with Prison Army. You know what I mean? So there's some good teammates and some good counters for any special defense walls too. I was also thinking something like Blissey would just be straight up countering it every day of the week. Like Moonguy's Beam doesn't do anything to it. Doesn't even have Focus Blast. That would be a big counter. Unless you had like a mix set. Unless you had something like Psy Shock. That could be, if you're worried about big fat special defensive walls. That's another way of getting around them with Psy Shock. That's probably one of your few ways to get around there. But yeah, that's a pretty good breakdown there on some counters and some teammates. Let's have a look at some final thoughts on this Pokemon. Okay, so status moves. We've got another Carmine, D-Dance, Iron Defense. We sort of had a look at a Physical's not so good on this Pokemon. It's better for Dustbane. Carmine, we did a bulky set with Iron Defense, Screens. You could try Screens if you wanted to. I think it's wasted on Screens because you can, it's more of an offensive Pokemon. Can serve as Stealth Rot for singles. It gets Sword Dance. It's not really a physical attacker though. It's a Trick Room. Oh, Imprison's interesting. So you might be able to use Imprison on there, but it depends how. Imprison is only really good if the Pokemon is prominently used. Apart from that, you're just hoping and praying that they bring that along. Unless you bring a move that's used by a lot of Pokemon, that's another strategy for Imprison as well. But apart from that, it's mostly gimmick, I would say. For that. So let's have a quick look at its special moves. It gets quite a few special moves, but it does get Future Sight as well, and it does get Heat Wave. There's some other options for doubles. You might be able to do a Terra Fire set in the sun or something like that. Maybe work around it, and then with Meteor Beam. Went over, Photon Geyser. Nah, there's no point using that really. It does get Power Gem as well. But it's hard to kind of fit that onto the set. It does get things like Charge Beam, but you're better off using Meteor Beam with Power Herb. And you've got that big nuke of Prismatic Laser. Yeah, there's not too much outside of what I already said there for that. And, of course, we'll have a look at its physical moves. I'll show you how dreadful they are. So, you might be able to put Brick Break on there just to get rid of Screens. But that would be more for a support style set. Like, someone set, like, Ninetale sets up Veil or something like that. You could have that as a supporty style move, but that's about it. There's no real other sort of use there for any physical moves at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Dawnwings. It's a great Trick Room Pokemon. It's got a fat special attack stat, and it's got some pretty good coverage. It can be very, very nasty with Indeedee under Trick Room. Can do a lot of damage for sure. I think the next video will be Dustmane, and I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like on the video. If you got any other movesets you want to suggest, put it below. And if you want me to cover a certain Pokemon, put it there too. Please check out the playlist. I've done hundreds of these already. Peace out, everyone.